a show, klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought, suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing? Everybody play cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought, suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing? Everybody play cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought, suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing? Everybody play cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody play cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody play cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody play cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl.
Hello,
steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful.
How are you?
Her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can
Perfect.
scare the
Thank you
soul.
so much for the 9 months. Dear one, YuureiRiri, welcome back home. We have a stream. Bye bye. Thank you, thank you. Hello, Pose. Hello, Honcho. Hello, Duros. Hello, Prince. Hello, Kropek. Hello, hello, hello. I am truly struggling today. I'm so tired. I did wake up and go to the gym, but all I wanted to do was go back to sleep. It's been a struggle of a week. But something. But I finally get to enjoy some Warhammer videos, so I'm pumped. I might be biased. We're watching 2 Pancreas videos. I just realized. but they're like such good time segments for me to watch, and I really want to know about Flesh Eater Courts, and I really want you guys linked me a video about ISHA, and I wanted to know more about her, so it's kind of perfect. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a good day. I know I just saw you yesterday. My day is okay. It could be better. It could be worse. But it's, you know, it's over, basically. I mean, after this, I still have to do some other work. But, you know, at least I don't have more office. I don't have to be in the office this week. Unfortunately, I can't co-work stream tomorrow because there's too many meetings and stuff going on. I have a coworker out on PTO again, and it's just like, it's too chaotic. But that's okay, you know, these things happen. These things happen. Do I have something to update you guys on? I don't think so. I think, yeah, it was just a typical day, but you know what? It was hump day. We got over the hump of the day. I hope you guys did a lot of hump day activities, a lot of humping, a lot of humpful time to celebrate the hump of the week. Whatever gets you through the week, I hope that you did it. I have myself here a zero sugar Dr. Pepper because that is what is going to get me through the rest of this day. My favorite flavor is actually the cream soda one, but it's just a regular smuggler one right now. Don't worry, I have water too. But I'm very hydrated. Yeah, I feel like that's really all I got for you guys. We can kind of go straight into the reactions. Yeah. Can you tell I'm like tired and brain dead? Hi Frank, how are you? How was your first day driving with the new job? Is it like same kind of stuff, or like distance of routes and things you're used to? Does the truck feel different? I'm so curious. I've worked in a lot of warehouses, so I've been near a lot of big semi trucks, and I'm like, man, I wonder if they all feel the same to drive. You haven't moved yet? Oh, fair enough. Oh, it's difficult to hear me, really? Huh. No, it's not in, you're not being an asshole, like, by letting me know. Maybe I have the mic a little farther from my mouth than I usually do. Maybe I'm just talking quieter, actually. I'm like looking at the mic and I'm not peeking. I'm like, it sounds muffled? I sound muffled? I sound muffled? Really? Like different than normal? Hi Blood, hi Mate Guy. Hi Zeku. Like I mean, better now? I'm talking straight into the mic right now. Usually I have it kind of angled a little so that my mouth still moves properly. Okay, I must have just had it too far. Or maybe a setting changed? Did I not blow my nose again? Maybe because I have a pimple patch on the edge of my nose. I don't know. I'm out of tissues on my desk. I need to get more tissues. I do think I'm talking a bit more quiet than I usually am as well, because I'm tired. But it seems like it's just a combo of me talking quieter and the mic being a little farther away. I hate the mic. If I didn't just put chopstick on, I actually would have eaten the mic. You guys could have heard what it would sound like if I ate you. If I could figure out how to take this foam thing off, I would totally do it.
body all the more.
Well, now you're making me like self-conscious. Do I need to go try to blow my
I
nose?
said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty
I'm like debating. Does it feel stuffy?
girl.
Maybe? Okay, hold on. Now I'm self-conscious.
Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game.
Okay.
What she doing, what she playing, everybody playing.
Nothing came out when I blew my nose. So my gluttony. What do you mean my gluttony? Don't call out my weakness like that. Okay. I'm gonna swap over. Cause I wanna start the video. I want to learn about the flesh eater quartz. I'm going to do a quick, well, it should be fine. I checked the volume on stream, like on OBS before. I do feel like there must be a different set, like something happened to my mic. Okay. Take a sip. Thank you, Shadow. Also, thanks for being the first all. Alright. Flesh Eater Quartz. Just so you guys know before anyone says anything, I've turned the volume up all the way. So there's no helping. If you think it's a little too quiet, you'll just have to turn the stream up. I can't do anything about it. I even have my browser source gain bumped up a little bit, but I don't want to do any more than it is because it might, it kind of might fuck with the sound a little bit. So, but yeah, we're going to watch Pancreas's video about Flesh Eater Quartz. I'm pumped. We hear you. Good. Yeah, without further ado, let's learn about the Flesh Eater Quartz.
There's a lot of ways you can create a bad guy. You can make them pure cackling evil with no redeeming qualities whatsoever, a la Emperor Palpatine. No one's ever accused him of being nuanced, not that that's a bad thing. You can have some more nuanced characters that have reasonable motivations and backstories, like General Grievous, and no, I'm not elaborating on that one. A rather less utilized one, however, is to make a bad guy or faction of bad guys that are in many ways pathetic in the most literal sense of the word. They're deserving of pity, and though you must fight them, you don't necessarily feel good about doing so.
It's like when you kill a spider. Like, okay, I don't know about you guys, but I hate killing spiders. Because spiders eat mosquitoes and other bugs. And mosquitoes and other bugs are the vein of my existence. Is that the phrase? The bane of my existence. So I always feel so bad killing a little spider. They're just like cute little guys. Oh my god, especially the jumping ones. The little jumping guys, they're so cute. They're like frogs, but they're spiders. So I always feel really bad killing spiders. I'm like, you're just a pathetic little guy. And I kind of like you because you like eat the stupid mosquitoes. However, you are in my house, so goodbye. That's the comparison I'm drawing right now.
Dealing with them is the act of dealing with a rabid animal, and putting them down isn't an act of hatred and rage, as it is the only thing you can do for them. Thus do we come to the Flesh Eater Quartz. Though on the surface they're simply slavering ghouls, beneath them is a story of tragedy and delusion that gives the army a lot of character. Pity them, fight them, but don't hate them any more than you'd hate, as I said, a diseased animal. Alternatively, if you so choose, play them and wage a merry war across the mortal realms as knights in glistening armor, because the flesh-eater courts are also just that thing. So tell me, do you like the ideals of chivalry in a fantasy world? Do you like the idea of fast zombies because you want to give the other guy's army diarrhea? Are you completely delusional as to how your life is actually going? Then step on up and take a look at the flesh-eater courts.
Wait, that's me. I'm delusional. I like fast zombies. I mean, I don't really want to give my opponents diarrhea. I don't know what that's about, but I like zombies. And I'm Delulu. Sign me up. You can relocate them. I do sometimes, but if they're like jumping spiders or like a black widow or something, or like massive, I'm like, there's no way. I found a spider like the size of like with its legs spread. It was the size of like a drink cup, like a lid, like a drink cup was, oh my God, like the lid of a drink cup in my house, bro. Spiders are fine so long as they pay rent, keep the mosquito population low, right? You got told to take a spider out instead of killing him, went out, had a few drinks, nice guy. He's a web designer. Oh, wait, I kind of like, I liked that one. I like that one.
But before you begin listening to this video, would you like to know what would make that experience all the better?
Yeah.
Well, sit tight, because this message is sponsored by Raycon. Do you like being out and enjoying the world, listening to tunes, but also actually aware of what's around you? Well, with Raycon's bone conduction headphones, that's not a problem at all.
Dude, I tried some bone conduction headphones.
Straight to your bones. Your ears are open to the world around you, but you're still getting quality audio the whole time. You'll be
like
aware
I tested them at a micro center.
While you're outside on a trail or taking
They're kind of really
cool.
With
13 hours of battery life, they'll stick with you for whatever you're doing. Since they're waterproof and dustproof, they'll weather whatever conditions you bring them in. And the best part, the auto quality.
I wonder if the Raycon ones
the
are
price is only half of competing
like
brands.
pretty good.
I don't know about you, but that sounds like a dang good deal. I've been using them while I'm doing yard work since the weather's picked up. I can get work done listening to music and podcasts, but if a neighbor walks by and says hello, I can say hello, or wave, or respond in some fashion, and not look like I'm
that's
dead
cool.
to the
More
world
people are
around me.
doing
The bone conduction
those.
headphones are the perfect addition to your fitness routine, or frankly anything else you might be doing. Go
They
to
are so
buyraycon.com/Pancras
crazy, though.
BC to get 15%
Dude,
off.
this guy looks
Thanks, Raycon,
AI.
for sponsoring.
His jaw was
Now then, time
unreal.
to see what
Sorry.
coping really looks like. From a
I already know what coping looks like. I just live my life. The flesh eater courts, aka Bretonia. Oh, that's why you said that's why Duroff said they're just the average British person. When you're a kid, there's a spider the size of your head with the legs outside your window. Oh my God. That's terrifying. What the hell? The flesh eater courts look nice and handsome. People you trust with your nephew? Maybe. I guess we're gonna find out.
At a standpoint, the Flesh Eater courts began when GW realized they still had a bunch of ghoul sculpts lying around from fantasy and figured they'd use them in the Age of Sigmar. But in the lore, their origins begin with their technical founder, Usharan, a vampire who was already ancient in Warhammer fantasy and now predates reality. When Nagash first became prominent in the mortal realms once again, he realized he needed to get himself some allies. While at this point Sigmar's pantheon was both forming and not in danger of cracking anytime soon, Nagash was still himself. Narcissistic, a sociopath, a psychopath, a raging asshole. Not the
I just realized his armor is like just a breastplate and then nothing under the breastplate. Like it's just protecting his like rib structure. If Nagash was a woman, this would probably look really hot. Like a bone mommy wearing that. Could you imagine the under boob? Anyway, I think I need to go to bed. Okay, stream is canceled. Riri needs to sleep. She's going crazy. The degen's out in full force.
Nicest fellow around by a long shot. And so Nagash found some minions of his from the old fantasy world and brought him back. Manfred, Neferata, and most important for our purposes here today, Usharan. Though all of them had died, they were already vampires. That tends to be a bit less impactful for them, you know? So with him bringing him back once again to these ancient vampires.
She's so pretty. Who is she? I'm struck. Bone mommy is not a term I knew I needed, right? Bone mommy? There would be no underboob? Okay. If Nagash was a bone mommy, for sure there would be underboob. I just feel that it would happen. I know there's no flesh, so like there wouldn't be boobs, but they would find a way. They would find a way. I believe. Someone draw it. I believe in you. Oh, Yuki has come up with. Yuki, could you please sit? Because you're blocking the screen. Thank you. Is she the bone mommy? I don't know who she is, but I want to know. Neferata. I need to learn about her. Skirt. We're not learning about the flesh eater courts anymore. We're gonna learn about Neferata. Wowee. I love a villainous vibe. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. Again, I think I need to see myself to bed was a better idea than streaming. But here we are.
Lead Nagash's forces. Usharan was initially a standout fella all around in AOS, which tracks with his status as one of the only vampires in all of OG fantasy that wasn't a colossal jerk. Fairly kind, merciful, good-looking. I would Usharan. And then something
That's right.
wrong.
That's right.
According to Nagash, it was a great betrayal against all that was morally right in the world, and a horrific act on Usharan's part. It's important to note, though, that this was Nagash saying all of this. He is perhaps not the most reliable of narrators,
True.
but whether or not Usharan was the cause of all the ruckus, the vampire did lead a massive army of monsters that required basically all of Nagash's forces combined to beat. Ultimately, Usharan was beaten, however, for such is the power of Nagash. This initial monstrous...
Such is the power. After all. Boo bone like a pee bone? Exactly, you guys get me. You guys get me. And it would be like kind of, you know, like ghostly, kind of like Nagash looks a little ghostly, like, you know, there's like some essence of spiritness. You could just have that filling up bone mommy boobs and it would be so good, I believe. Neferata is from fantasy, and when the world ended she was reborn. Right, that's what he just said. Yeah. Behind every great man is a great woman, and behind this great woman is me. What a fucking banger quote. Holy shit. Holy shit. Dude, low-key, I'm already obsessed. Behind every great man is a great woman, and behind those great women is me. Snap. Fucking mic drop kind of moment. I love that. I need to remember. I need to go forward with that energy. She was from the land of the Tomb Kings before they were undead. Will was a royal who took an elixir to gain immortality, where she and others became the first vampires in fantasy. Oh, okay. Interesting. Huh.
This army was also likely formed when Nagash punished Usharan for what I believe to be an entirely separate reason, making him require more blood to function, as well as turning him into a more monstrous-looking fella that began creating the first Ghoul Kings.
Yeah.
Sort of proto-flesh-eater courts, if you will. One way or another, his sanity was already crumbling by this point and contagious enough to those around him, but the full extent had yet to be seen. As punishment for unjustly not wanting Nagash's jackboot on his neck for all eternity, Usharan was thrown into what's known as the Shroud Cage. It's not really anything too fancy, just another prison that Nagash made, like the evil mirror he threw Sigvald into. It threw back all the lies you ever told into your face, and the spirit sewn into the walls constantly whispered and moaned in your ears, tormenting your every waking moment. Standard Nagash stuff.
That doesn't sound very fun. Good thing I never lie. Unless it counts like lies to yourself or something, you know? Like, would it throw back? Oh my gosh, sorry guys. Would it throw back all of the lies you told yourself, all of your copium, you know? Oh man. Or like, oh no. Cause I'm not much of a liar, but like, I imagine it throws it back in a really twisted, fucked up kind of way. Yeah, I don't want it.
Usharan was locked in here for an unspecified amount of time, but it was certainly
Oh,
hundreds
shit.
upon hundreds of years at the
Unspecified?
least, since all of this happened during the setting's Age of Myth before Chaos ever showed up. He grew more and more monstrous, and his already slipping sanity truly snapped. It's likely Usharan would have rotted for all time if nothing intervened, because, in all honesty, I'd put good money on Nagash simply forgetting he was in there.
Oh my
Even
god.
if not, forgiveness isn't really a word Nagash knows. But luckily for Usharan being able to
Holy
stretch
shit.
his legs, and unluckily for basically everyone else in the mortal realms, the Age of Chaos came. His freedom didn't come from Chaos freeing him to cause chaos, however, but rather an accident born of Nagash being himself. Nagash was the last of the deities in Sigmar's pantheon to abandon things in an utterly shocking twist of fate. In a predictable manner, Nagash left in the most ash-holeless way possible, killing a bunch of Sigmar's followers and leaving them high and dry at the most crucial moment during the Chaos invasion.
Yeah.
Sigmar, still having some character development to go before he leaves behind the hot-headed barbarian personality totally, immediately chased after Nagash to punish him. And like a bull in a china shop, he went to Shyish and started smacking things left, right, and center. Obliterate zombies here, shatter a monument or 20 to Nagash there, and of course, one of these things he broke was the shroud cage holding Usharan.
Oh, I don't remember. I know we learned about Usharan a while ago. I don't remember the fact that he got out being an accident. Literally just like got lucky. That's so funny. Self-lies would be more torturous, which fits Nagash. Well, yeah, I'm sure, but yeah. The Lich King? Yeah, it does kind of look like the Lich King, huh? A banana spider. Damn. I actually found a black widow in my apartment the other day. I mean, it was a couple months ago now, but Yuzu was playing with it. And when I went to kill it, I was like, wow, that spider was really dark. And then I looked at it and I was like, that's a red hourglass on that spider. And then I was like so panicked and anxious and scared that Yuzu got bit, and I watched her like a hawk for a day. She was fine, obviously, but and then my coworker, oh my god, speaking of spiders, my coworker got bit by a brown recluse. Luckily he like was taking care of the wound because he didn't know it was a brown recluse, and then it got bad. And he went to the hospital and they gave him like antibiotics that were so strong that he had a metallic taste in his mouth because of how strong they were to like save him. He said his vision started getting blurry. Crazy. Anyway.
A beast was unleashed upon the mortal realms at a time where the mortal realms already had enough on their plate. Usharan's delusion by this point had completely overtaken him. He saw himself as what he was before, being super cursed, as this beautiful and noble king who was just and crusading across the land, defeating evil wherever it may be. In reality, of course, he was a rampaging monster, bashing whatever ended up in his path.
Sad.
Since this was the Age of Chaos, he
so sad that he's so delulu. Like, he's not small pathetic. He's just sad, pathetic.
oftentimes ended up fighting chaos and doing something that accidentally or not did help the people of the mortal realms. Given the intense delusions of him, however, this also oftentimes had him roll up to the bastions of order remaining and murder whoever was in them. Worse was that his madness was so intense it was infectious. The early monsters and ghoul kings' initial rebellion against Nagash were formed by his mere presence, and now it was even worse. Coming near Usharan engulfed people in his insanity.
Whoa.
Becoming the new ghoul kings, who oftentimes have their own delusions unique to them. These new ghoul kings' madness was also infectious, with the flesh eater courts forming and being quite aptly named for it. They too saw themselves as noble heroes and leaders protecting the ideals of chivalry and honor, defending the weak from the various monsters of the mortal realms.
You know, at least if you're a flesh eater, you don't know it. You know, you're Delulu. It honestly, low key, high key, seems like the best place to be. Because you're delusional. So, like, everything's going to be chill, right? Yuki, you got to sit back down, buddy. If you want to be up here, that's fine. But you got to sit down. You're blocking the screen. Why'd you get up? You were fine. I love you, but you were perfectly fine just laying down right here.
They marched out to defeat any evil foe in their path, and the reality of many of these foes being innocent people meant jack and shit to their madness. Chaos' largely unchallenged rule of the mortal realm, save for YuureiRiri, didn't mean too much for the Flesh Eater courts, because realistically speaking, you can't make things worse for them. They're already utterly insane, and burning down their stuff at worst is going to feed into their delusions of defending their noble kingdom under siege. Plus, they're an entire faction of beings who most frequently act like the infected from 28 days later, rushing at you and rapidly beating you to death. A good chunk of the time the forces of chaos approached a ghoul kingdom, they'd just be viciously murdered and feasted upon. After enough time had passed in the Age of Chaos, both survivors and chaos warriors alike learned to avoid the ghoul kingdoms, because ghoul kingdoms are kind of like Gary, Indiana. You can go there, nothing's stopping you, but only if you feel like getting murdered and devoured, and not necessarily.
What's wrong with Gary, Indiana? How are they comparing ghoul worlds to Gary, Indiana? It does sound familiar, but what's wrong with Gary? Do we need to check on Gary? Like, what's going on? That's where the Flesh Eaters live, in Gary, Indiana? No, they don't. Oh, you mean the I thought you were just telling me that Flesh Eaters live in Gary, Indiana. It's like, what the fuck? Gary, Indiana is not a place. That's not a canon place in Warhammer. I mean, I could be wrong, but you meant the ghoul. But like, Gary knows what he fucking did. Well, now I feel like I need to Google. What's wrong with Gary, Indiana? Why is Pancreas shitting on Gary? What's the lore there? Why are you gonna die if you go to Gary? What the hell? I have so many questions.
In that order. Calling them islands of stability for the realms or anything like that is giving them far too much credit. But hey, at least they only eat your body and not your soul. This gotta count for something. When title drop The Age of Sigmar began and the Stormcast began reclaiming lands, the courts were largely still there. They continue being monsters randomly jumping people, and they were still utterly delusional as to their own reality. A Flesh Eater court group will switch on a dime who they're attacking, so just because they're against chaos doesn't mean they're for you. Everyone is a potential option on their dinner plate, doesn't matter who you may be. When the Soul Wars and Necroquake nonsense began happening, the ghouls were still themselves again. They're technically living, but they're also inundated in death magic more than any other living being, and so were boosted a bit by the Necroquake. They were also, shall we say, not the best of the death armies in Nagash's corner. This isn't necessarily because they were weaker. I mean, come on now, 28 days later zombies, remember? Anyone who's not insane themselves knows damn well that if the zombies move faster than a walk, it's time to blow your head off.
Yeah.
But their delusions meant that the best Nagash could usually do was wrangle them towards an enemy he wanted dead and hope that they didn't randomly decide to start gnawing on the bones of his other skeleton.
Dude, I agree. If fast zombies are ever a reality that I'm in, I'm not surviving. I've lived a good life. I'll like find some drugs to OD on or something. I'm not I'm not outrunning fast zombies. It's not happening.
Soldiers mid-assault, which was a thing that happened. It happened quite a bit, actually, because any kind of team killing you can imagine happens when the Flesh Eaters are around. As things moved on, this continued, with Flesh Eater courts being used in order for Nagash's domain to continue its march across reality, and they continued as well being used and abused by the other forces of death. In fact, part of the reason why Arkan the Black was defeated by the Lumineth was because one of his lieutenants had struck up an alliance with a Ghoul King that was a fairly personable fella for a Flesh Eater. Because of attrition, however, the Ossiarch lieutenant ended up taking larger and larger tithes from his ghoulish allies. This culminated in them turning on each other and many Ossiarch being slain at a crucial point in the campaign, and of course in Teclis' ultimate victory farther down the line. The Era of the Beast finally let him be cool though, because a decent ways into it was around the time Usharan got a model, if memory serves correctly. As it turns out, he was hiding in a fortress he had taken up living in. Nagash for the longest time had a bounty on his head, and when he initially found Usharan, he absolutely planned on killing him in a rage.
He had a bounty? That's crazy. People thought he could have a bounty. Wild.
But in spite of what I said earlier, Nagash actually forgave him. In his madness, Usharan had forgotten his rebellion and imprisonment, and so Nagash instead decided to sort of bring him back into the fold and naturally use him for his schemes once again. Though Nagash did have his servants build a huge wall around Usharan's kingdom, and Neferata sent agents to try and manipulate him, Nagash figured that if there was any way to reliably control the Flesh Eater courts, it was through Usharan. Additionally, there was a strength to the courts that not a single other member of Grand Alliance Death could hope to match. They weren't dead. Though death magic empowers them and surrounds them, they aren't dead and still have life in them. In the Era of the Beast and the Dawnbringer Crusades, they are able to fight stronger than other death armies because of this, as while they did lose a bit of a boost from Alariel's ritual that ended the Necroquake, they weren't nearly as weakened physically as the other death armies were. Usharan was even able to become a sentient in some ways. He had agreed with a plan to smuggle his own blood and slip it into the supplies of Cities of Sigmar armies to weaken them and bring about more ghouls.
Whoa.
The Dawnbringer Crusades also saw part of the walls Nagash had built around his citadel destroyed by the Cities of Sigmar, giving
That's a crazy tactic idea. Damn. That would be like devastating. I'm assuming it didn't fully happen. I guess we'll find out. You'll be fast once you get eaten. Fair. Nagash has a bounty on Usharan. Yeah. I just think it's interesting that Nagash would think anyone would be able to take Usharan down. Aside from him. I don't know.
a much easier access to the outside world. A Stormcast seeking to find a cure to the flaws of the reforging process was eaten alive by him as well, and all of the ghouls in the area not only slaughtered many of the living, but Neferata's own agents as well. Usharan wasn't playing around with Neferata's schemes, taking control of the little blood smuggling operation and resoundingly outplaying her. This is resoundingly satisfying in ways I cannot explain properly, because Neferata had this shit coming to her for what she would do to Usharan back in fantasy. And
oh, wait, what would she do back to him in fantasy? Now I feel like I need to know. Was she a bitch? She does look like she was a bit of a bitch. She was a royal, I guess. So usually in these kind of things, royals are like not nice people, right? But now I want to know what would she do to my boy Usharan? I kind of love that he showed her up, though. Feels good. Does anyone know what she did? I feel like I should have known about it, but I just don't remember anything about that. Not that means I didn't learn at some point. I just it's no longer in my brain, I guess. Maybe I'll remember. I'll look it up later if I don't.
And Usharan's madness, as it turns out, is not nearly as all-encompassing as he lets on. Though he does genuinely slip into total madness from time to time, he also has plenty of times where he plays it up as much as he can and is as cunning as any classic vampire should be. Of course, he couldn't be on top forever because the Skaven Joy rode all of Skaven Blight into each of the mortal realms at the same time. There's rather less to say on them at the moment, at least I think so, because for the time being, they're doing much the same as everyone else. Skaven are everywhere, Jesus H. Christ, we have to deal with all these goddamn rats. It does let them LARP a bit easier, though, because even cannibalistic ghouls are better neighbors than the goddamn Skaven.
That's crazy. Nobody knows what she did? It seems like people know, because Pancreas was like very excited. So he left to establish his own empire. Neferata got pissed at it and orchestrated a big invasion of it. Huh. Nisharan, as a handsome vampire king, who held Neferata's favor until he spurned her advances. She cursed him to become a horrific beast. Oh, so she's the reason he got, like, ugly, perhaps? All because he turned her down? Oh my god. Usually it's like the other way around, you know? That's crazy.
And with that said, how about we get into the pros and cons now of you running a Flesh Eater Courts army?
I do always find, like, the sections interesting. Well, this is lore positives. So I guess it's not the physical tabletop game positives, but because I don't actually know how the game is played, I find these interesting.
For starters, I'll reflect on something I mentioned earlier. We have a Grand Alliance Death army that isn't entirely dead, which is really interesting, at least to me. They're inundated in death and fundamentally related to Shyish and its magic, but they are living beings. They aren't puppets for all their insanity, at least in the sense of the rest of the Death armies being almost literal puppets. They can be manipulated, and absolutely have been, but actual manipulation is needed as opposed to flexing your fingers and the skeletons on your strings march to the beat. They have wants and dreams. Insane and delusional wants and dreams, but that's more than most members of any other army in Death has, with the exception of the Osiarch, and even then, their dreams are all basically just what Nagash wants, with some extra steps and more personality than zero. The ghouls of the Flesh Eater Courts are all individual living beings, similarly insane, but individual nonetheless. So if that's your style, but you still want to hang around Death, go for them. On that matter, not only are they fairly independent, but they can even work with basically everyone, tentatively. Part of why Nagash didn't kill Usharan recently, because remember, he is Nagash and still a spiteful prick, is that he wants to control the Flesh Eater Courts more. Well, yes, he can ass blast any ghoul to Kingdom Come in an instant. There's not the same pull he has over them that he does over the rest of Grand Alliance Death.
Right.
They're ultimately a free faction, not bound to the will of anyone but their own insanity. It's a unique way to be free, and certainly a rough one, but it's better than being a slave in some ways, especially to Nagash. On them working with others, meanwhile, their insanity is a very flexible thing. They don't always see non-flesh eaters as monsters to be slain in their insanity. Very frequently do they go to war against beings like orcs or chaos in genuine defense of normal people. They work alongside death armies the most, true, but they have gone to do things like break sieges against the cities of Sigmar. You can flavor your army of ghouls to have their delusions be damn near correct if you try hard enough. There's no saving the image, because everyone outside looking in is still going to see them as insane cannibals, but your insane cannibals can, if only by accident, actually be crusaders against the evils of the realm. They'll likely eat those evils alive when they're done fighting still, but hey, no one's perfect. This even lets you go full on the Nagash propaganda if you want. A lot of them view him as a benevolent deity that does everything from ensure a bountiful harvest to protect their souls from evil. In a really messed up way, he does, albeit with a bounty that's other people's flesh and protection that's go look at a night haunt. None of those ghosts are likely to want their place in life. But it isn't chaos, and so technically, you can play an army that loves Nagash and is correct in their viewpoint of him. Because if you're insane enough, anything can be a correct point of view.
I like the real creative freedom you could have with this army. You know, you could really get into the lore building of it and stuff if you wanted to. Like, they seem really interesting.
With most Age of Sigmar armies, they're also easy to fit into any scale of game, lore-wise. A band of a few ghouls led by a stronger one for a 500-point game is more than reasonable. I mean, hell, that's just a D&D adventurer party right there. So what if they're a bit more insane than player characters usually are? It's not like the Flesh Eater Courts commit more murders than your average role-playing group does when an NPC gives them the slightest bit of lip. And for larger games, well, that's where an entire kingdom of ghouls goes all out on crusade right there, as hundreds of the Insane King's finest rip asunder his bestial foes in the name of glory and honor. It's a good time where everyone can come together and absolutely devour the celebratory feast afterwards, aka whoever's left of the Fireslayer Lodge after they ransack it. It's a very versatile army for scale. They're also, as I alluded to, very homebrew friendly. And when I say that, I don't just mean that any stereotype of knight you can think of can work with them, though you of course can do that. I mean that there's at least one court out there that thinks they're Elsaris. They're so delusional they think they're lizardmen. That is some room to get creative. And in case you're worried that that doesn't make sense, you're absolutely right. That's the point. They're insane. You have the ultimate license for homebrew with this army that I genuinely think is to some extent unmatched by anyone else in Warhammer.
That's what's so cool is that literally it's anything. It's like the orcs, but you could make it even crazier. Two quotes, Neferata. Two Neferata quotes. Okay, one, Neferata serves no man, and two, you come to me with gifts and promises, and expect me to be swayed by them. You believe that I owe you the kiss because of your years of service. You are a greater fool than even I believed, and never shall you join my kin. We are guests at the ultimate mask, and your kind is simply not invited. Damn. Damn. That's crazy. They are nice. Yeah, I believe.
Nothing has to make sense here because they fundamentally do not have the capacity for sense. You're arguing with the deranged that they aren't lizards or ogres or anything but cannibalistic madmen. What end result is there for you but to be eaten by them as they merely continue on their delusions of being what they aren't? And if you don't care about any of that, you don't have to. The flesh-eater courts can be viewed even by you, person potentially playing this army, as exactly what they are to everyone else. You yourself don't need to feed into their delusions. Completely ignore that and embrace what's ultimately happening. You're an army of fast zombies backed up by nightmarish monsters. Run down your enemies in a tide of near unstoppable violence as you consume everyone in your path. You aren't a knight, you aren't kind and just kings, you're an insane monster, and you'll make everyone in your path fear the arrival of Usharan's insane court. And last but not least by any means, if you're like me and hate Bretonnia but also still kinda want to play knights, they're perfect. Because they see themselves as what Bretonians think they are. Gallant knights courageously riding in to save the day. But in reality, they're also what Bretonnia really is. Monstrous corrupted ghouls slaving away and violently slaughtering anything in their way in a horribly barbaric manner.
So
it's a funny joke,
interesting.
I've come around on it, and I quite like the joke of calling them Bretonnia for AOS. Although even on that note, they're still better off, because while the flesh-eater courts might eat them, they don't fuck horses.
Yeah, fair.
Let's go over all the boring battle traits and nonsense before we have our cannibalistic fun. First off is your delusions. At the start of the game, you pick one of your delusions to believe in and give you buffs, and at the start of every turn afterwards, you roll a d6. On a 1 to 2, you have to choose the other delusion, on a 3 to 4, you keep the same delusion, and on a 5 to 6, you pick what you want. The first delusion that comes base lets you count run rolls of 1 to 3 as a 4 if a unit of yours is wholly within 12 inches of a hero, and lets a hero be blocked from line of sight by enemy units if they're near a unit with 5 or more models. This is
I feel like I vaguely remember talking about the delusions maybe when we were talking about Usharan.
is usually going to be your go-to pick turn 1 of the two, just to get into the fight better. The other, a Glorious Banquet, gives units a +1 to hit on the charge if they're near a hero of yours. Neither of them are super necessary for the long term, but they can make getting into the fight both quicker and much more brutal. Always a positive. There's more to be found as well, but they're based on which characters are in your army, so I'll shelve it for now. As for the rest of the general army stuff, your aberrant units can heal and resurrect slain units that have strength, and your nobles can also bring back models of damaged but not destroyed units. They aren't fully dead, but the ghouls do still have some undead resurrection shenanigans, which is good. For
That's
this
cool.
army, that's very good, which I'll get into later. And once per battle in the combat phase, units around a hero get one added to their attacks they can throw out, just to really blend people nice and good. As for the battle formations, it is a similar situation to the delusions and other army rules, where a chunk of them
Battle
require a hero to be
formations.
nearby, though not all of them. Units with the Knight keyword that charge while wholly within 12 inches of a hero get extra rend. Units with a Serf's keyword can pile in, move, and cause mortal wounds for free. Buffing your resurrections abilities is possible. Get a free rampage ability usage and potentially give that same unit strikes first. Deny your opponent the ability to pile in, or give your heroes a 5-up ward if they destroy an enemy unit. At least personally, none of this is insanely flashy beyond the additional rend, but anything from basically free mortals to stronger resurrection is available to you, and I'm hesitant to say anything is outright bad. Denying your opponent the ability to pile in is kinda lame, but I'm also an absolute buffoon who ignores everything that doesn't let me hit harder and everything from Dark Souls to, of course, Warhammer. So on this note, take my word with
You
an
know,
even larger
I
grain of
understand
salt than you
that.
already should be doing. Their spells are pretty fun, though. I like those. Damage an enemy unit and resurrect models from one of your own. Give a unit 2 extra inches of movement and +1 to their wound rolls. Or make it so that any hit rolls of one an enemy unit rolls automatically inflicts mortal wounds on them. All around good stuff, and this time the bias is simply me loving necromancy as well as being told I now wound better. Caveman Smash is the ultimate way to play, and the second best is Raising the Dead. And with the Flesh Eater Court spell lore, you can do both pretty well. Their prayers aren't quite as up my alley, but that's mostly just because they require slightly more thought put into them. They're still fine. You can prevent an opponent's unit from receiving any buffs to their saving throw, as well as potentially denying them any ward save they might have, or give one or two units of your own a 5-up ward save depending on the chant roll. And then the last one, which is my favorite. Depending on your prayer roll, you can either add 1 to the damage of a hero's melee weapons, or let them use 2 fight abilities to spend an entire turn absolutely wailing on a guy.
I'm listening and trying so hard to figure out what everything stands for.
I love how it specifies you can't give these buffs to Nagash. It's fair enough. Nagash is the guy answering those prayers, and if he could just make himself that much more powerful, he'd do it himself without some madman's incessant muttering to rely on. Such is his power, after all. I just find it funny. Now then, how about we get into all those lovely little toys you can play with? You will find that everything in this army has a ward save, usually a 6-up, but sometimes with a 5-up sneaking its way on in. This is good. Ward saves are good to have. But let's be a bit more practical in terms of what this army is really bringing to the table. Brutally savaging people. Let's look at the most basic of units, the Crypt Ghouls. You get 20 of them for 150 points, so this is clearly the default chaff unit. And for that, you get a total of 40 attacks, hitting and wounding on 4s each, and getting them to rend 1 isn't at all difficult because you just need a hero near them. It's a lot of beatdown for a basic unit to be putting out.
Like a leader.
Near, you could even get them to punch a bit above their weight class into more medium-tier infantry.
Imagine God praying to himself for more power, right? It is a funny thought.
Even the next step up is pretty brutal in the form of the Crypt Guard. Still hitting and wounding on 4s each, but now with Rend 1 built in and 3 attacks. At 120 points for 10, you aren't quite getting the same volume, but you've got some slightly upgraded stats for the trouble. They even share a 5-up ward save that they give to nearby non-monster heroes, and can once a turn forego their ward save in exchange for getting strikes first. Combined with having anti-charge and auto-wounding on crits, they're not at all bad at chewing through problems in their weight class. In fact, that's a running theme of this whole army. If you want an aggressive playstyle, they're perhaps the best choice for you beyond even a Cornate one. Not to totally TLDR this entire segment, but between the fairly fast movement they all have, which can easily be buffed, their resurrection abilities, and their striking power, rushing in to beat people into a bloody pulp isn't just feasible, it's what you should be doing. Crypt Horrors, for instance, are the classic big monstrous guy to smash into something you don't like. 4 wounds a pop, 160 points for a unit of 3, and 4 attacks with Rend 1, damage 2, hitting on 4s and wounding on 3s. You could even roll some extra dice once a turn for free to hurt people more, with cavalry being particularly susceptible to it. Even further, aside from the general fact that everything
they're good against horses,
you seem to have something for almost any threat you might face, or option you might want. Morbeg Knights can freely disengage from fights and hurt the opponent while doing so. Vargulf Courtiers have anti-infantry bonuses, and as discussed a moment ago, Crypt Horrors are good against cavalry with their ability. You can have an option for dealing with essentially anything. Not only are a lot of their heroes wizards, but just to make sure magic goes well for you, as a Grand Alliance Death Army, you can take Nagash, which is always a great option because he is Nagash. I will not eliminate the proper cost of including him or not, because he is Nagash. Take him because it's funny. On the topic of characters, though, powerful is a good word for it. Good words plural for them are holy hell, did anyone get the number of that freight train that just bowled through my house? As mentioned before, many of their characters also give you delusions you can pick from in addition to the 2 you get by default. An Abhorrent Archregent, for instance, lets units near a hero have -1 subtracted from shooting attack hit rolls made against them.
This part, I'm like trying to comprehend, but I don't know how any of this works. I would think I would definitely want to run the Nagash if I was doing it. For sure.
A specialized delusion.
Hi,
true,
Konna,
but
how
less
are you?
powerful for it if you're playing against someone like the Caradhran or a Scryer-based Skaven army. There's several more based on the hero you're using, all of which are decent at least, so how about we go through some of the characters now. The Abhorrent Archregents are still plenty powerful, with a decent amount of health, attacks at 2 damage each, and fairly reliable wound and hit rolls with 3 up for each. Aside from their delusions, they can also resurrect slain models, which is always as great to see. Abhorrent Ghoul
I like a
resurrection.
resurrection. That sounds good to me.
Another attack against enemy heroes, and it can give a unit of weaker ghouls +1 to wound against whatever they're fighting. His stat line is otherwise the same, albeit with +1 to rank against enemy heroes, giving him a nice extra bit of punch against a character-heavy list. Abhorrent Cardinals are the first of these lads to fall out of being good in melee, but only slightly, and with D3 damage, one of their attacks can actually do more. They're priests anyways, and ones that get a bonus to prayer rolls if they're far away from enemy units. And their delusion gives your army not only +2 to banishment rolls, but your entire army a 4-up ward save against spells, prayers, and manifestation abilities. Against anyone you know will be running a magical army, this is a must-have hero. Royal Decapitators can insta-kill an enemy hero, Marrow Scroll Heralds can make your opponent trying to cast or use command points a living nightmare. Much like your units, you can find a hero for basically any role. For turning someone into but a fine red mist, however, you need yourself a mounted monstrous hero. An abhorrent ghoul king on a Terrorgeist is absolutely throwing out mortal wounds left, right, and center. Between his attacks and the Terrorgeist, he's slamming whatever comes near him.
I
He's
like
actually
him.
fairly tanky, all things considered, with a 4-up save and 16 health.
Such as his power. Use your big brain. I mean, I am using my big brain. I'm a smart cookie. But, like, when you don't know how the game is played at all, it's a little difficult to follow along. You know? Just know when the funny numbers go up, that's good. Yeah, I mean, for sure. It's like it's stat cards. I get that. But I don't, I don't have a frame of reference, I don't have a frame of reference for the actual game. Hi, crafting.
Combined with 12 inches and fly, nowhere is safe from him. Plus, once a turn, he gives his mount even more attacks, as well as giving it +1 to hit, in case everything in front of you wasn't dead enough. The one on the Royal Dragon is similar with some differences in the ranged attack, and among his
Royal
abilities, the one to
Dragon.
let nearby monsters run and charge is quite the brutal one, to say the least. But of course, nothing comes close to the monstrosity that is Usharan. You're paying a hefty price at 450 points, but through sheer violence alone, I'd say he's worth it. For the worst thing about him, I, personally, find his delusion kind of mid. Adding 1 to run and charge rolls is great, and subtracting that same thing from an enemy can be clutch, but +1 to rend against charging enemies while in your territory and you yourself haven't charged doesn't really strike me as a wonderful thing for this army. The courts aren't really a defensive army, so scoping around in your home and waiting for them to come to you seems poor. But otherwise, good lord. 16 health and a 4-up save, the same as the monstrous leaders on mounts. 5-up ward 2, another nice thing. His scepter, meanwhile, hits on 3s and wounds on 2s at Ren 2 for D3 +3 damage. 4 attacks of that evil-ass stat line. Holy shit. If you roll well, there are very few things that can survive even a single turn against Usharan. His talents are plenty deadly too. Less so, but you get 8 attacks to make up for the slightly reduced potency of them. And with 10 inches of movement and that potential +1 to running and charging based on his delusion, nowhere that isn't behind terrain or your enemy's entire army is safe from him. But why should the King of New Summer Court stop at just that? You can add or subtract 1 from your delusion roll with him in your army to make it far more likely to get what you want. He's a wizard as well, and his unique spell lets him point at an enemy model. Probably best to make it a character, but from my understanding of rules as written, it can be any model, and if you cast it, that model attacks an enemy unit nearby it. Obviously a bit wasted if you choose a Skaven clan rat, but an enemy Gargant suddenly beating the shit out of their other forces can be a great way to swing the tide or ensure your victory even more. And once per combat phase, he can force up to 3 enemy units to strike last, to ensure that they're going to be overrun. If you have the points to spare and don't have a super specific plan in mind, I'd say take Usharan.
Interesting.
I'm hesitant to even say the usual line about making sure he doesn't get stuck fighting chaff for the whole game. I feel like it's almost a guarantee that any chaff sent against him aren't going to last long enough to meaningfully delay him. And even if he doesn't get to kill something important, him wiping out a third of your enemy's points worth of infantry and other nonsense
That doesn't sound
is
bad.
probably worth it. As for some final general army stuff I breezed through, and I'm now desperately cramming in at the end because I don't know how to write properly, they're a fast army all around. 6 inches ain't terrible for base speed on average. In fact, I think that's quite an excessive amount of speed, actually, and there's plenty of ways to make them faster. Your opponent can't run for long against rage zombies, after all. They're also, depending on what you take, able to be either a horde army or a fairly elite one. Taking monsters is an option if you want relatively few models, but alternatively, remember that for 150 points, you get 20 ghouls to choke someone with. You aren't hurting.
You can
for
choose
options in
if it's
either
a
case, so
mob
see what
or
works and
like
go from there. Wallet depending,
couple
of course,
stronger
because as with all
guys.
horde armies, you'll be paying for it if that's what you want. And last but not least, with a fairly recent and fairly comprehensive refresh and new additions, the Flesh Eater Courts are a damn fine-looking army. In that disgusting way similar to Nurgle, but one of their characters is wearing someone's intestines like a judge's wig.
I have that model. I freaking love that model. So I bought it because I got a discount on it. And I think it's so cool.
If you're grossed out by that, the army probably wasn't for you to begin with. And if you aren't, then you have quality models to look forward to. Not entirely. There's a few things like the Crypt Flayers out there that are certainly dated, but by and large, it's a good-looking army with good sculpts. Usharan especially. I mean, holy shit.
Yeah,
this
model is so cool.
I don't know how long the pipeline from design to release is, but I have a sneaking suspicion someone at Games Workshop really liked Godric the Grafted if those dates coincide even slightly. It's not all sunshines and rainbows for these noble courts, however. In fact, there's none of those around them, so how about we rip off the biggest band-aids hiding the most rotten wounds first? The Flesh Eater courts in many ways are an army that is pathetic. You feel pity towards them for their condition, because they're not mentally well and rampage across reality because of it. This makes them great fun, and pitiable villains can work, but they are still sad and deserving of pity. As I've said before, they're rabid dogs more than anything, and should be put down because of it rather than any outright hatred. They can sometimes do good, they can sometimes work with others, albeit through the lens of insanity, but by and large, they're an army that if you fight, you should pity. And if you think that's the worst of it, wait till you hear what happens when they break out of their delusions. It can happen, be it from something like a god being nearby to bring them to the light, or through the occasional bit of sheer willpower, that they return to sanity. Wonderful. The memories don't leave them, and they realize they've spent the last however long murdering and devouring innocent people. This almost always results in them going so mad with grief and regret that they revert back to being a ghoul, because sometimes in your tabletop wargame you end up writing a faction that's an allegory for every time you're awake in the middle of the night remembering something you did in high school. They're also a faction that's short on friends. As much as I said they can work with others, that's very much the exception to the rule. In such cases, they're also
like
most
crazy,
often being manipulated
so
by others, which in itself is most often being done by
them, I
Nagash's
guess.
forces. They have free will, I said as much, but free will buried under delusion so powerful that it affects reality around them. Which is a cool thing. That is insanely awesome, but it certainly makes them controllable in many cases. And if not, would you want a Flesh Eater Court's kingdom as your neighbor? No, you wouldn't. Don't lie. Best case scenario, you pity them. Worst case scenario, you hate them for driving down your property value. No one wants you around because you're either bad news immediately or a ticking time bomb until your insanity flares up and it's time to start chewing on everyone around you. Plus, let's be honest here. Their freedom is much in the same way that the vampires of the Soulblight have freedom and agency. If Nagash wins at the end of the line, the ghouls die too. They technically live, and in Nagash's ideal world, there's none of that nonsense going on. So while they have a pulse, in the end they're no more free of his ultimate plans than any other member of Grand Alliance Death.
So if Nagash were to win, he would kill all of the Flesh Eaters? Hi, Saber.
Your faction's ultimate victory is hampered by the fact that it in many ways will allow Nagash's ultimate victory, so if they ever did win, they'd have to take into account Nagash as well. Rather a hard thing to do when you're insane, I imagine. They're also an army that, and I want to stress this is another personal taste thing, I find hard to take seriously as compelling characters. Seriously as compelling villains? Oh, that's easy. These things are horrifying. Just take a look at them.
Yeah.
But as characters?
Fair.
They exist. There's various ghoul kingdoms. There's the guy who made friends with the OCR general. They have motivations and whatnot, but they're slavering ghouls. They're monsters that want to eat everything around them, and whether or not their prey is dead is largely irrelevant. I'm sorry, but I can't look at the guy with the intestine wig and take him seriously as anything but a monster, and even then I'm kind of busy laughing at him too. Not to say it's impossible, but if you're anything like me, taking them seriously as anything but villains, or potentially seriously at all, depending on what you're looking at, might be a lost cause. Plus, it's just hard for me to get invested in the army who is fundamentally incorrect in their view of reality. That's their entire point, and if you like that, more power to you.
I do
it does
like
sound
it,
fun,
I think.
I at least can't do it. First and foremost, your army has the durability of a wet paper towel. You know how you have all those nice 6 or 5-up ward saves? That's because your normal saves are ass. 5-up is standard, and for the average ghoul, a 6-up is what you're stuck with. You have the ward save because anyone with Ren can conceivably remove you having a save with 0 difficulty if it works for the ward. So anything that can either weather your assault or can shoot you down before you get in range is going to make you feel very sad. It isn't across the board with the biggest undead dragons and Usharan having 4-up saves, but even then, your faction leader character is tough because he has a 4-up save. Nothing here is going to last very long. Compounding on this is that they are technically still an undead army, and as such have the weaknesses all of these armies do. Their characters. Your characters are strong, give amazing buffs through delusions or other abilities, and can resurrect your models as well as heal themselves. You remove them from the army, and you're left with just the standard insane cannibal without any buffs to speak of. Especially because they can resurrect ghouls, which is one of your army's main forms of staying power. Once they go down, you better hope you brutalize your opponent's army in return, otherwise the rest of the ghouls probably aren't far behind.
Well, Yuki.
Their leaders. While they aren't the most expensive heroes around, they're still expensive enough that an early loss will hurt, especially if it turns into a cascading failure of dead heroes making your army worse, leading to more dead heroes and a faltering army all around. As with all armies that are based on rushing into melee, you're also fairly predictable. Everyone knows you want to get into melee, and so if the opponent can dictate engagements, they can win the game handily. Between their speed and utter damage, managing you can be difficult, and as I said, characters like Usharan
they're almost like Assassiny.
Anything. And the delusions do keep your opponents guessing, even if only because if you don't know which one is coming next, neither does the other guy. But it's going to be fairly easy for someone familiar with the courts to form at least a general game plan around you. Also, the delusions can occasionally screw you over as well. You might have a really nice delusion you want to keep, or one that doesn't fit your game plan any longer. Well, too bad, so sad, bozo. You should have rolled better on the delusional chart, or alternatively, not played the army of militarized schizophrenics. The dice will roll how they may, and sometimes you'll have to work around it, not with it. Anytime randomness is incorporated into an army rule, it can be frustrating, and I imagine that sooner or later, it will be frustrating for you. It'll never outright hurt you, but it will sometimes result in you missing out on victory, because with just an extra point of movement or an extra attack or whatever, you could have pulled ahead, but the madman in charge is now listening to a different madman's insane ranting. Speaking of melee, that's basically all you have. When the main ranged option you have is the breath attack of a dragon, you can make a safe bet you aren't playing a force with much in the way of range.
Okay,
much
fair.
Like
I
Bretonnia
see.
in the world that was, the courts view these silly ranged weapons as unchivalrous and cowardly. You are a melee army. You need to get in and start chewing people's throats out.
That would be
You don't do
difficult
that,
for me.
The game is lost. And while in terms of time taken up, this has been a fairly short con section, I would just like to end it by saying that these are pretty extreme downsides in a lot of ways. There's only so many ways even someone who does YouTube for a living can say your guys aren't very tough, but it is true, and foolish engagements will get you slaughtered quickly. Their downsides may not be numerous to have a million different minute points to discuss, at least not for my style of videos, but they're important to keep in mind. You have no ranged game and you aren't durable is a short sentence that if you don't take into account is going to get you slaughtered. And that was the Flesh Eater Courts. Insane, cannibalistic, funny little
I don't know, they
fellas.
seem kind of
Play
fun to
them
me.
if you like Vor, and I will now end the video on that note. Thank you as always to my
I don't
wonderful
like
channel
Vor,
members.
but they
You are the
do
random
kind of
peasant
sound
to my
fun.
Flesh Eater Courts, being devoured wholesale.
Okay,
but
guys,
keep
I
me
have to go
going.
run
If you'd like to support the channel,
and
feel
do
free
the
to
thing I
subscribe or
have to
become
do
a
every
member.
day.
Either way, thank you for watching.
So
and
I'll
take
be
care
back
out
in
there.
like 15 minutes, okay? And then we will watch this video about ISHA, okay? Okay, I'll be right back. Don't leave. We'll be right back.
Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing. Everybody play cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody play cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody play cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody play cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri, the friendly neighborhood ghost here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri, the friendly neighborhood ghost here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri, the friendly neighborhood ghost here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game, what she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition, can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best, get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody play cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody play cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody play cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri the ghosty girl steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all and more to Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. Just a normal day or so we thought. Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri. The friendly neighborhood ghost is here to check in on all the lovely souls under her possession, hoping to give herself a taste of what it's like to be not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing, what she playing. Everybody playing cool, it's the coolest of the ghouls. Strong will end, a lot of ambition. Can't see through them like apparitions. Determined to bring only the best. Get in the way, be her guest. Riri, the ghosty girl, steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her is unforgettable. She's a scream queen that can scare the soul, but guides all wandering souls back home. Give your mind, body, all the more to Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl. I said it's Riri, the ghosty girl.
Hello. I'm
Just a normal day or so we thought.
dun, da, da, da. Oh, I need to fix this, my bad. Dun, da, da, da. Dun, 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 dun. We're back, and I'm still just as exhausted as I was when I left. Seems like I missed a raid from Noodle. Hi, Noodle. Thanks for the raid. No, don't scatter. I want you guys here. Okay. Let me see what you guys... Oh, Yuki. My guy, why do you always have to come block it? Let me see what you guys... not only... Oh, break all the rules. Lurkers, rise up. Rise up. I love my lurkers. Kana raided you, and then you raided me. Oh, yeah. Classic raid train. And she's not only my friend, but she is my wife. Long distance wifehood. It's painful. Maybe one day we can live in a compound together. We'll each have a house with our cats. We can have a tiny house and like foster together. That would be amazing, actually. Legitimately. Anyway. Dude, I want to be auntie. I want to be auntie living like a 2-minute walk away. And then the nieces can just come over whenever they're tired of mom and dad. That'd be the dream. They'll come over and we'll karaoke in my house. Wow. I just lived the whole dream in my head for a second. Hello, Shmebby. How's it going, guys? I am back. And I'm ready. Sorry, Yuki is like laying, so he keeps... let me see if I can like... Oh. Can I want to like elevate this a little bit because Yuki is laying down, but he's still blocking it because he is big boy. Let me see. I can probably do something like, oh my god, something like this. Ugh. Of course, now I keep oh, okay, no. Is this working now? Okay. Now we're in business. Oh my god. Yuki managed to move his head. Can we just scoot you over just like... there you go. Like that, buddy. Is that okay? Okay. Not weird auntie. Well, I don't want to live in the woods either. I'm a nature girly, but I'm not a nature girly. You know what I mean? Anyway. I'm also not stinky. I'm very clean and I smell really good. Because I shower as soon as I get home for the day. And I have to shower every morning because of the gym. At the gym, I am stinky, smelly, sweaty. But you know. I'm not Baba Yaga adjacent. No. I'm not the kind who wants to go live out on 10 acres in the middle of nowhere. That is not me. I would like to live in a townhome, a condo. What food you got? I don't have anything. I'll probably eat a little something after stream. Maybe just some leftover chicken breasts. I don't know. I got nothing right now, though. Okay. But we're going to watch this video on ISHA, the goddess stuck in the jar. Because I want to know about her story. I have to know about her story. And thankfully you guys linked this video the last time she got brought up, so. I'm not a crazy cat lady of the woods, guys. I'm not going to live in the woods. If you find me in the woods, I've gone cuckoo bananas, okay? If you find me in the woods, I've gone cuckoo bananas. And I need to be put into a mental institution. Because I don't want to live in the woods. I feel freaked out living in like the middle of nowhere. I feel much better living amongst civilian. I like seeing a bunch of strangers in my vicinity. They don't know me. I don't know them. There's still the anonymity. But no one gives a fuck about me, you know? Hey, Ring. Aren't you already delusional? I am delusional, but I'm not cuckoo bananas. There's a difference. But yeah, unrelated to that. Let's check out ISHA. I'm excited to learn about ISHA finally.
Be depicted as being pretty firmly on the life gods tend to be depicted as being pretty firmly on the side of good. It makes sense on just about every level if you think about it. By their very nature, gods of death tend to be evil or at least antagonistic sorts, so they're pretty easy as villains. See Nagash. Gods of life, meanwhile, give life, something that most people I imagine are quite fond of having. Death, meanwhile, is a scary concept to imagine on some level, be it questions about the afterlife or having to accept people around you aren't forever. This isn't a hard-set rule, of course. The heroes of Olympus had Gaia be the villain, and Warhammer's very own Nurgle is a life god that is not a good god no matter.
I didn't think about Nurgle being a life god. But like, he kind of is, huh? I didn't think about that. Nurgle treats her right, trust me. I don't trust you. The circle of life god? Yeah, that's probably a better way of putting it. I just never really correlated it to life, but yeah.
What his followers or even he himself may believe. The gift of plague is one that, to be frank, I can do without. But with that, we come to today's video. ISHA, the Elfdar goddess of life. Boy, is she depressing to talk about. You know the saying, no good deed goes unpunished? That's ISHA through and through. Going through it doesn't even begin to explain how miserable this goddess's life is. Heartache, problems with her kids, losing everything she's ever known and loved to a nightmarish abomination of a god. All things that happen to ISHA and more. And you know, all around, ISHA's probably a pretty smart goddess. Maybe not in the things she's done, but in her purview. Being a god of life probably requires some smarts in all sorts of subjects. And if you'd like to be a smarty pants like ISHA, you can do no better than Brilliant, the sponsor of today's video. Brilliant is, put simply, the best way to
that
learn
segue actually got me.
Science.
It actually got
me.
me.
Any of you who are young, but those are important things to know on one level or another. But luckily, Brilliant
I was
knows
like,
if you don't make your lessons
she
interesting,
probably
you're gonna either zone out or
is
fall
smart
asleep.
if she's
Perhaps
like a
this
life
isn't the thing
goddess.
for someone who was a teacher to confess.
We're probably segueing into
school nap time.
what was her downfall. She's so smart. What happened?
Engaging to get through. A shocker, I know, given how tedious school can be. Plus, and I cannot stress this last one enough, they're on your own time and at your own skill level. If you weren't aware, we all live in real life, and real life generally doesn't care if you have a math course going on before it starts springing crap on you.
True.
Brilliant doesn't care, though. You want to spend every day for 8 hours on Brilliant
really
or half an hour
cool.
once a week. It's all equally possible with Brilliant. My recommendation for a course to take would be Thinking in Code, because from personal experience and from what friends who work in the fields that require coding have taught me, even a bit of coding skill can go a long way. And Brilliant is all too happy to get you started on learning that fantastic skill set. And to top it off, I've got a deal for you. Keep it quiet, but using my link in the description or pinned comment, you can get not only a 30-day free trial to Brilliant, but the first 200 of you to do so get 20% off your annual plan.
I've never seen this learning platform, but it seems really cool, actually.
Deals. Learning is never a bad idea, so get Brilliant
I like
today
the
and start now. Now then, onto the story of the saddest goddess in all of Warhammer. ISHA in 40k has the same backstory as all the other Eldar.
This video in particular is going to have a lot of somewhat related images because artwork of ISHA is as easy to find as Bigfoot. Also a lot of fauna. That's funny. So there's not much art of ISHA, I see.
Gods. She was a weapon of the old ones that the Eldar began to worship as a goddess. Or maybe she was always one of their gods and was boosted up alongside her mortal children. Or she's an old one herself who took on the mantle of an Eldar goddess to survive in the post-war in Heaven Galaxy. The true story is whichever one of them you find most appealing. Personally, I prefer the idea that the Eldar gods were already their own thing and were given a power boost by the old ones. But them being weapons that were worshipped as gods and thus turned into gods seems to be what GW is leaning towards lately. Regardless of that, it can be safely assumed that she fought in the war in heaven alongside both the Eldar themselves and the other races that fought in that delightful little galaxy-wide apocalypse. Since almost everything we know about that time is from the point of view of the Necrons, with the occasional line about the Eldar being super powerful, specifics are unfortunately rather scarce. And what specifics do exist are mostly about our good friend Cain. So as I do whenever I have to talk about the war in heaven, here's some conjecture and semi-educated guessing.
She's only mentioned like 8 times in 40 years. Dang, that's crazy. Huh. Don't want to spoil. She still helps people. So she's smart. It's delightful. The galaxy spanning war. So delightful. Wow. So much enjoyment.
His godly purview is that of a goddess of life. To narrow it down a bit, she's a goddess of things like nature, healing, and fertility. Things that off the top of your head might not be conducive to actively fighting in a war. If I were a betting man, I'd wager Isha's place in the ranks of the Old One's soldiers might have been as a supporting role. Anyone sufficiently important who was wounded could have been sent directly to Isha for
makes
healing.
sense.
Or perhaps she was the one who healed the other Eldar gods when she got into a fight with something like a Catan. With that being said, though, her doing
semi-relatedly, getting a play of the game as Mercy because Anna boosted you and you killed 4 people was the kind of thing to make. That's funny. I hate Overwatch, but I did play it for a bit. A long time ago.
Some fighting of her own isn't out of the question either. I'll bring it up later in the video, but if you're familiar with Fantasy's Wood Elves, you know damn well that just because Isha's a life goddess doesn't mean she has to play nice. For all we know, entire planets of Necrons could have been devoured alive by magical forests springing to life and crushing those Necrons beneath their roots. If you want to get even more fantastical with it, those same forests could have come alive into warp-enhanced treemen and dryads that would rip apart any Necron who couldn't kill them in time. Like I said though, this is all conjecture because GW refuses to fill in the lore about that period. For all we truly know, she could have spent her time singing Witch Doctor in the backlines while Kain body slammed Catan. After the Necron War in Heaven, we get some actual solid details about her.
Wait, what?
Body slam Catan. After
I feel like I should come clean by this point and admit that I haven't watched a single Fauna stream in my life. She just makes a good Isha. I've told you I'm a Face Connect guy. Wait, Pancreas is a VTuber enjoyer? Chef's kiss. If I didn't like this guy already, I like him now.
the Necron War in Heaven, we get some actual solid details about her. Not many, because she's an Eldar goddess.
Who put this picture?
And therefore worthy of nothing but GW's utter contempt, but hey, it's something. Whatever the case with her backstory ultimately is, Isha by this point has come to regard the mortal Eldar as her children. She loved them all alongside her husband Kurnos and her daughter Lilith, both fellow gods, and at this point in time was able to interact with everyone freely. Overall, things were going pretty well for everyone involved.
So she feels she's almost like the mother god of all of the Eldari, right? And, dude, imagine, like, being in their, I don't know, their city or whatever, and you just are walking around and the fucking, like, mother life god of all Eldari children, it just tells you hi. I don't know. That's crazy. That's a whole other level compared to, like, seeing an act like a famous person, you know? Whole other level.
Which means, naturally, Kain and her daughter have to ruin everything. I went through the story in Kain's video, but that was Kain's video. From his point of view, he was just informed that a whole bunch of people were going to get him killed one day. And well, like I said, there were a million better ways he could have handled the situation. He's a war god. Blaming a war god for killing people is on par with blaming a hurricane for making somewhere wet. But Lilith, instead of going to her parents, went directly to who at that point was either the first or second strongest being in existence, told him he was going to get killed by a whole bunch of mortals, and then lo and behold, he starts killing mortals. A shocker, truly. From Isha's point of view, her child went behind her back and got a whole bunch of her other children killed. The Eldar still respawn at this point, but that doesn't make it much better. Like, oh no, you can come back. That means it's no problem a war god is rampaging across time and space trying to kill you all. And while I'm by no means an expert on reincarnation, I assume it doesn't work if everyone who can give birth to your reincarnation is also dead. Understandably, Isha wasn't happy with her kids getting murdered, and Kain refused to stop murdering her kids. So she complained to Asurian, who in his infinite wisdom, matched only by his desire to not have to actually do anything, just put up a big wall between the Materium and the warp and said no one can go across it anymore. Including, of course, Isha, who can no longer talk to her kids unless they're dead. Can you really blame her for being upset about this?
Dude, that would suck. Now she can't, like, talk to them and hang out. Doesn't solve the problem. Well, it solves the problem without it's not like a band-aid, but it's a band-aid, you know? The new husband? Who's the new husband?
ISHA and Kurnos plotted, dragging Vol along with them because he's a godly craftsman. He made the spirit stones that would allow the gods to talk to their children across of Assyrian's barrier, in defiance of the Eldar king of the gods. Of course, that means that the husband and wife were now going directly against Assyrian's will, but as long as they don't get caught, what's the harm? So, yeah.
She can see them on Sundays? Wait, really? Is that like the day that they worship, which is why she's able to communicate with them?
Yeah, Cain catches him talking to the mortal Eldar and throws a hissy fit to Assyrian. In his boundless, lazy wisdom, he told Cain to have fun with the pair, and he spun the wheel and it landed on torture ISHA and Kurnos forever. Which he did, and the war in heaven between the Eldar gods begins. Cain starts rampaging, the other gods except for Assyrian, ISHA, and Kurnos join in on the fun, and then Vol makes his bed with Cain. He couldn't quite reach 100 completed swords for Cain in a year, but he did for ISHA and Vol, and then when Cain realizes he's been duped on that last sword, he chains Vol up instead. All the while, the mortal Eldar have been watching from the sidelines and probably wondering when the hell their gods were going to calm down. Now, I just want to make something clear on this. Throughout the entire affair, the only thing ISHA has really done wrong is wanting to talk to her kids. Yeah, she went behind Assyrian's back, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's one of those crimes that's not worth judging her too harshly for. All she did was make...
Yeah, wait, all she did was want to talk to her kids. That's all she did. It's not like... That's crazy. What the hell? What is this picture?
The mistake of not wanting to abandon her children, and it caused billions of them to die and the very heavens themselves to go to war. In the most vaguest of sense, it's her fault, but it's a motive that's hard to put blame on her over. Yes, she broke the rules, but who in their right mind is going to say she was in the wrong over it? To hell with Magnus, Isha's the one who really did nothing wrong. Now, since this is all in the nebulous time...
Isha did nothing wrong. Yeah, freaking CPS. Just because the mortal realm got custody rights. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. Cain can no longer kill everybody, but now not only is the finger not bleeding, it can't move. Yeah, that's a better, what's the word? Analogy for it, for sure.
Period of things that take place before the Horus Heresy, this could have been an affair over hundreds, thousands, or millions of years. Or it could have all taken place over one really eventful weekend. But as time goes on, we can solidify some dates for what happens, and in case you were wondering, no, things do not get better for Isha. Things never get better for Isha. Because now is the time for Slaanesh. In the absence of their gods to guide them, the Eldar were now left to their own devices. And you know me, I quite like the Eldar, so I'm gonna give them credit. It took them 65 million years to finally shoot their collective selves in the foot. But when they did, was 65 it glorious. You all know the story, since it's the big thing Imperium fans love to bring up whenever you...
I feel like it would take humanity right now way less time than that, so... They had a good run. Slightly
criticize the Imperium. The Eldar get more and more degenerate, the warp gets more and more turbulent, and then one fateful night it culminates into Slaanesh being born and the Eye of Terror ripping reality into pieces. Almost immediately, just about every Eldar died. Similarly, their gods all died. Isha was one of the three who didn't die, with Cain standing up quite admirably to Slaanesh, and Kegarak making the wise choice of hiding literally anywhere else in reality that wasn't the Eldar Empire. Isha, for her part in things, was not slain and eaten alongside the rest of the Pantheon. Unlike the other Eldar gods, however, she had someone in her corner to help her out. Good old grandfather Nurgle showed up and rescued Isha, bringing forth his demonic armies to bear against Slaanesh at the height of her power. Out of equal parts genuine love for Isha and a desire to show the newest Chaos God her place in the pecking order, Nurgle rescued Isha from Slaanesh's moist, sticky grip.
Why would Nurgle rescue her? That's so interesting. We didn't fuck a god into existence. We're better so far. Yeah, that's because we have leaders. We haven't devolved yet. Give us time. I would wager less than 65 million years. I'm gonna be so for real.
Fortunately, Nurgle is the chaos god of disease, so while his affection for Isha is genuine, he doesn't have the healthiest way of showing it. He at present has her stuck in his garden in a cage, and
I see. So he just likes her a lot. Wait, he's like a crazy obsessed parasocial stalker. Oh my god. That's why the symbolism of Isha being a VTuber is crazy because it's so accurate.
Uses her to test his latest diseases. She
Oh
can always cure
god.
herself, being a goddess of life and medicine, but depending on how much effort she has to put into curing herself, he will either release it into the mortal world or start anew. And
Wait, that's fucked up. I'm sorry. He tests his new disease creations on her because she can heal herself, and based on the reactions and how quickly she's able to heal herself, he'll take it back to the drawing board or release. That's actually insane torture. Holy shit. Poor Isha.
such has been Isha's lot in life for the last 10,000 years.
Oh
Stuck
my
in a
god.
jar filled with unmentionable fluids. At least it's better than the jar of unmentionable fluids Slaanesh would have stuck her in.
I
With
guess
that being
that's
said,
true.
though, there's potential she's not actually lost much of her power as a goddess. She's kept in prison by Nurgle and used to test out his diseases, but she's been doing that for 10,000 years.
Maybe she's
you can make an
stronger.
argument that Isha might still be at the level of strength she was at before the
Yeah,
fall of
maybe
the
it's like
Eldar,
training
only
her.
in prison because while powerful, she's not as powerful as a full-fledged chaos god. Weakened, sure, especially since the loss of all her followers meant she's not getting as much worship as she used to, but she wasn't instantly consumed by Slaanesh, and to my knowledge, Nurgle hasn't explicitly drained her of her power. He just keeps feeding her slop like I do to all of you with my videos. The only solid piece of lore about her after that is the tale of Craftworld Lugganath.
They weren't Harlequins, which is the only art of the Eldars versus Nurgle. That's funny. Dude, but the Harlequins are so cool looking.
The Craftworld that was ravaged by one of Nurgle's plagues. They went on a semi-suicide mission to find their goddess, knowing that while they were probably going to die, they'd just end up back in their spirit stones. Unfortunately for them, Nurgle found out about their intrusion and wasn't really in the mood for visitors. Endless tides of Nurgle demons swarmed them until his plagues finally caught up to the comatose bodies of the seers in the real world, and their souls were trapped in the Immaterium. They all turned into trees in Nurgle's garden, and Isha had one more thing to cry over as she watched her children turned into living trees that would forever suffer in Nurgle's care. The story's pretty neat, because while it's short, it actually has quite the number of kick-ass things and ideas in it. Could the Eldar avoid Slaanesh by going into other Chaos Gods' realms where she who thirsts has no power? There didn't seem to be any mention of Slaanesh's hold on the Eldar Psyker's souls when they were in Nurgle's garden, and you can't get much deeper into the warp than the realm of one of the Chaos Gods. Wouldn't exactly be a pleasant alternative to Slaanesh, but hey, a chaos-corrupted Eldar of other gods would be awesome to see, if nothing else. The Eldar also held out for...
Fair. Him giving his diseases are his way of showing love. Nurgle genuinely loves Isha, and to show his love, he feeds her his diseases to see how they affect her. And because she always recovers completely, Nurgle takes that as a sign that she loves him back. That is some crazy, fucked up, parasocial, cuckoo banana shit right there. That is like such a parallel. That's crazy. And even though the group was turned into trees, she can still hear their screams. Oh my god. That's horrible. My love language is sneezing on my wife, Nurgle probably. He for sure is the boyfriend that fucking crop dusts you. Like farts in your face and then holds a blanket over you.
quite a while, only actually losing when their bodies in the real world succumb to the disease. While it is a loss, it's a loss that actually gives the Eldar some credit. A pretty small number of them waltzed into Nurgle's garden and killed anything that tried to touch them, and they only failed because their bodies were rotting away while they fought.
Wow.
If it weren't for that, it's possible they could have held out forever, since the battle had already been raging for days straight by the time they succumbed. It begs the question of what the Eldar could truly do in the setting if they could access the warp free of Slaanesh's influence.
True.
And of course, it proves Isha's still around. This is from the 7th edition Codex Demons, I believe, which wasn't that long ago. It's not exactly recent lore, but I'd say it's recent enough that it still counts. Unfortunately, the story abruptly ends there, because as I said before, Isha is an Eldar goddess and worthy of naught but contempt and hatred by the corporate masterminds of GW. In fact, this meme that I hate with a passion is the most accurate thing to any potential resolutions to Isha's imprisonment. I hate
Rest finding and freeing Isha would complete his post-heresy arc of looking for the tree of life to heal the Emperor. Or if the lion freed her, it would complete his arc as becoming a defender A knight saving a damsel from a monster. How does this further any elder plot lines? Elder plot lines. Have a good dinner. 8th edition, actually. I see.
Yeah, because it's barely a meme. It's just the discourse about Isha whenever she's brought up. Why, yes, Isha be rescued by the Primarch so they can fill another of their character arcs, and for no other reason. Why, no, the Eldar shouldn't be allowed to rescue their own goddess, even if it's portrayed as a last-ditch effort thing that's horribly costly to them. Why, no, I don't see why writing 1,000 pages of Space Marine lore for every page of Xeno lore could be a detriment to the setting. To hell with everyone who says New Year, New Me. It is a new year, and by Isha, I am the same elf simp as always. Let's move over to fantasy, because I'm angry and she gets more respect there.
So it didn't dawn on me that Isha's in 40k and fantasy. Obviously, when we started talking about 40k, it just didn't register that we were 40k and no fantasy until just now. So she's in both. Good for you, Isha.
Fantasy, she is pretty much the same being, only with the added benefit that she isn't stuck in Nurgle's garden. She's a goddess of life, fertility, medicine, all that happy-go-lucky hippie crap. Or at least she is as far as the High Elves are concerned. To be fair, she is given more credit even among them than in 40k. Her presence among them is cemented through the Everqueen, the queen of the High Elves who carries the composite soul of the previous Everqueens within her, as well as a pretty hefty chunk of Isha's own power. I've said the word queen so many times, one after the other in that last sentence, that it no longer carries any meaning as a word for me. She rules from her court in Averlorn, the closest thing to a nice place you'll find in any Warhammer setting. It's a place filled with love, poetry, relaxation, and the kind of thing that at first glance you don't think belongs. Then one of the Everqueen's handmaidens catches so much as the idea of a threat to the region, and they're unmade faster than the Night Lords can skin a person. The Everqueen entity, for what the hell else can you call it than an entity, was last present in Alariel. My Little Pony character come to Warhammer, and in the Total War games, the first and often only person to grab the Sword of Cain. She fights the enemies of the Asur with the power of love, healing magic, and throwing Tyrion at anyone she can't be bothered to deal with at a given moment. By the time it got to Alariel, the Everqueen was powerful enough to equal Slaanesh in a contest over the soul of one of her champions. Arguably, the Everqueen won, since the Slaanesh Chaos Lord's soul was cleansed and he came to regret everything that had led him to that point. Of course, the moment Alariel let go, Slaanesh turned him into an extra disgusting Chaos spawn, but hey, it's impressive regardless. The Chaos Gods indeed regard the Everqueen with some measure of fear, and since the Everqueen is partially made up of Isha, that means that the Chaos Gods are arguably afraid of Isha. Most of the duties of the Everqueen
That makes sense. Beware my child, for Nurgle has released yet another miasma of disease and death. Wow. Some of the gods are brought over. Yeah, I know some of them were. I just didn't realize Isha was in like a character that was brought over.
are ceremonial in nature, or serve some sort of magical purpose that aren't strictly speaking related to her status as a semi-avatar of Isha, so we'll skip over them. But in the same way the Chaos Gods are wary of the Everqueen, there's an entity that scares the Everqueen, and it's Isha again. But this time, with the Wood Elves. Where the High Elves worship her as a motherly life goddess who can sometimes kick ass, the Wood Elves have much the same view on her, except she will kick your ass. Their version of the Everqueen is Ariel, who is an outright avatar of Isha rather than her High Priestess with bits of her jammed inside. She weaves magical enchantments all throughout Athel Loren, the Wood Elves' home forest, and unlike her husband Orion, she's active in some capacity for the entire year. While the pair does rule together, Ariel's the one who has the final say in matters, so if she decides that say, time for war, it's time for war.
Powerful queen, we love it.
Incarnation among the Wood Elves, she's quite a bit more murder happy than she is anywhere else. You better not threaten Athel Loren, because if you do, you're gonna be suffocated by living branches. And that.
So in fantasy, Isha's not Isha exactly. Like she's almost like a reincarnation or like a spirit of herself. They're saying she's different, but she has like parts of Isha or something. So she's not exactly Isha. She has a different name or something.
It's the least gruesome fate you could probably ask from her. She was originally just some elf named Ariel, although when the High Elves colonized Bretonnia in the Old World, she was one of the colonists who stayed behind and sought shelter in Athel Loren. Her and Orion, who was also once a mortal elf, dipped out before a battle against the dwarfs who were seeking vengeance for what had been wrought on them. The dwarfs were defeated at heavy cost alongside their forest spirit allies, and then the orcs showed up, because of course they did. This is to be expected, as if you've ever played Total Warhammer, you know that the only thing the orcs love more than sacking your cities is sacking your cities the moment you just got done with a war against someone else. Unfortunately for the Greenskins, however, it turned out Ariel and Orion pieced out to become avatars of ISHA and Kurnos, and with their return, the orcs were obliterated. Ever since then,
they had become avatars of ISHA. I see. She's worshipped by the Wood Elves of the Old World as one of their principal deities.
And Ariel has lived on in Athel Loren as Isha's true avatar in the Warhammer world. She's frequently fought against the Beastmen, particularly Morgur, and has had her ups and downs, with occasionally succumbing to dark magic as a result of her fighting Morgur. Sometimes she's pretty chilled out, sometimes she decides an entire Bretonian village needs to be crucified by a force that springs up under their feet. No great loss there, I say. But for real, that's something to keep in mind with Isha's avatar in Ariel. If you threaten the forest, you are going to die. Either from...
So... ISHA is Ariel in fantasy. That's like the avatar of ISHA is Ariel.
Orion after Ariel sicks him on you, or if you're really unlucky, Ariel herself, who may turn you into a tree for all time. Now, in the interest of not dragging on too long, and
I don't know, to be honest, after the month I've had, a tree sounds pretty good. I could be a tree. I'd be okay with being a tree. I think life would be boring. Maybe it depends on where my treehood would be. But right now, being a tree sounds low-key good. I'd be okay with it. Take me, Isha. Smite me and turn me into a tree. I've lived a good life. I'm ready.
hedging my bets to make another video out of it, Ariel's story won't be told here. Avatar of ISHA though she may be, she also gets up to so much that it's worth its own video.
So
if you're really curious, the Cliff Notes version of it is she fights the Beastmen a whole lot. Because of that, we'll skip ahead to the end times, which doesn't make me as mad as it normally does here, because it still gives ISHA more credit and things to do than she's ever had back in 40k. Naturally, her ultimate fate is pretty intertwined with the Elven Civil War. When Tyrion did the funny and became the Avatar of Cain, Teclis's plan to bind the winds of magic to people was going pretty horribly. The only things that actually worked out were he managed to bind the Wind of Light to his staff and the Wind of Life to Alariel. Because of that whole Everqueen nonsense, that means ISHA technically gets just a bit stronger here. As for Ariel, the goddess Lilith infected her with dark magic and caused Athel Loren to rot from the inside out. Aside from being a generally rude thing to do, this means that Lilith has decided to directly dick over her mother instead of indirectly like back in 40k. Alariel and Ariel merged into one being, purged Athel Loren of the taint, and then Lilith married Alariel to Malekith. With the weakening of the elf gods due to the chaos gods themselves, as well as the Elven Civil War, what was left of ISHA now resided in Alariel. Then the world got Manfred von Karstein, and we have Age of Sigmar. Now, as I mentioned in my Cain video, the Elven gods are cyclical. They can come back if they're worshipped enough and enough of their corpses lying around somewhere. Alariel surviving into Age of Sigmar, however...
Oh, Alariel. Right. Ugh, I really love this mini. I'd love to paint it one day. The magical force of nature flows through Ariel as if she were the goddess of ISHA herself. She's an immortal demigoddess and the avatar of ISHA. And then Ariel combined with the other one and became Alariel. It seems even more ISHA-esque, right?
First thrown a bit of an issue into ISHA coming back, because whatever you want to call the specifics of it, the end result is that Alariel basically ate ISHA. There really isn't anything left of ISHA outside of her. Depending on how you want to look at this, it could mean a couple of things. It could mean that ISHA and Alariel are a merged being, with Alariel and AOS not quite being the same one from fantasy any longer, or at least not the same one as before the end times. It could also just be that ISHA is gone in AOS, her power and essence entirely consumed by Alariel rather than fused with with it. Or maybe, just maybe, she can be reborn still if Galariel manages to pull off something special. She's already brought back Draika for some ungodly reason, and unless I'm mistaken, I believe there's 2 versions of Kurnos running around in AOS in some minor capacity. One of them is his dark and evil side that the Wood Elves probably loved, and he's corrupting parts of Gairan with his mere presence, but hey, that's just more proof of concept ISHA might not be down and out fully in Age of Sigmar. Plus, parts of Kain survived, and he could have explicitly been reincarnated if Marathi didn't steal his thunder, and he was thoroughly killed in the end times. And normally, here's where I put do or don't ISHA or something like that. But for the first time in a while, I can't do that because ISHA doesn't really have any tabletop rules. I could do Alariel, but that's better for a video about Alariel. Same for Ariel. So instead, here's some stuff I'd love to see from GW for ISHA on the tabletop, and lore for that matter. All of it's for 40k, because in Fantasy, she had a pretty solid presence between Ariel and Alariel, and in AOS, we already have the Sylvaneth. That last one's not quite ISHA, but close enough. In 40k though, man are we overdue for some ISHA content. And we can get it pretty easily in a way that would fit in with just about 0 effort on GW's part. The Exodites. Honestly, it's not like it'd be terribly difficult. The Exodites are already the 40k Wood Elves. Putting ISHA there wouldn't be anything outlandish in the slightest. There's precedent for it already, and on some level, most of the 40k factions are based on an equivalent over in Fantasy. It could be just the sort of thing to revitalize the Eldar and finally get the Exodites on tabletop proper, and it's not like you can't figure out a reason for the Exodites to be out and about doing stuff. Webway Gates, there you have it. There's all the reason the Exodites need to be able to move around the galaxy. Plus,
Pancreas was so happy at the recent GW Exodite reveal that he said he regrew his pancreas. That's so funny. Elves that ride dinosaurs? Kind of obsessed. What was the new Exodite? What was the Exodite reveal? Now I want to know what it was.
there's plenty of lore about Maiden Worlds getting invaded. There's all the reason you need to have them fighting. With the return of their mother goddess, the Eldar who fled the Empire in hopes of hiding away have returned to the galactic stage in the name of the Wild Hunt. It can give the Eldar agency once more, and a spot of unqualified hope for them to have. Yeah, Inyad is supposedly their salvation, but that lore has been handled horribly, and even disregarding meta stuff, half the Eldar in-universe view it as Eldar heresy. ISHA, meanwhile, is a sort of goddess whose return no Eldar would deny as being on some level a good thing. At worst, she's too nice for this setting, and if you lean into the Wood Elf side of things for her, she's not even that. ISHA's proper debut in 40k could be an angry forest spirit millions of years old, and you just landed on a planet you really shouldn't have. You could have her stabilizing the warp around Maiden World so the Eldar can have a sanctuary, or even more, a place where they can exert more of the psychic power that they've lost. Not perhaps the sort of thing to get the Eldar truly back on their feet, but a crutch they can use if worse comes to worst.
I do like Pancreas's ideas. I feel like they're really cool. A 3-model kill team. Oh, the USA game started. That's right. There is a USA game today, huh? Smaller 40k, but they revealed Exodite models. Ooh, I'm gonna have to look those up after.
And if nothing else, I think it'd be cool because no one else in 40k would have the perspective ISHA does. For one, the only other gods worth mentioning are the Chaos Gods, who are a familiar thing, the Emperor, who is pretty wildly different from any other gods in Warhammer, and Gork and Mork, who, let's be honest, are the same as any random orc, but bigger. But ISHA's a goddess proper, not some corruption of mortal emotions, not whatever the hell the Emperor is. A goddess the likes of which we just don't have in 40k, one whose divinity isn't corruptive or whatever the Emperor is. For two, there's nothing left from the war in heaven quite like her. The Catan are all in pieces and the Necrons are soulless. ISHA returning could be something to shock the galaxy in a way that no amount of power scaling legendary figures of myth can. Would ISHA be the strongest being around? Not by a long shot, and the form she'd interact with others on the battlefield with would be even less so. She'd be an at least 65 million year old being from the biggest war the setting has ever seen, an ancient goddess from a time where they walked the stars and broke entire worlds. The galaxy wouldn't learn to be wary of her just for the power she holds. The setting has plenty of beatsticks in it already. It'd learn to fear her because a true god of the war in heaven is back, with all the knowledge, experience, and more that brings. As for the models ISHA could bring, the biggest thing that comes to my mind is Wraithbone forest spirits. Imagine the Dryads and Treemen from Fantasy and AOS, but made out of Wraithbone.
Dude, the model with the freaking bell is so cool. And I love the wood elves, the archers. They all look really fun. To give some sense of scale of her suffering, the story behind the Eldar's spirit stones is that they are ISHA's tears, seeing as there were once trillions of Eldar. Man. For someone that doesn't have like a huge, like isn't mentioned a lot, there's such a cool backstory there. I mean, obviously like really sad and fucked up here in 40K, but like imagine if she got even more fleshed out. I don't know. It would be really cool to see her come back and shake things up. I like that the most, I think.
The X-Knights can sing them into existence using a mixture of faith in their goddess and bone singing. For that matter, you could get some Eldar supporting units, something similar to the lore of life from fantasy, units that can cast a variety of spells or psyker powers based on healing and support. And, of course, making living branches rise up from beneath the ground to drag your enemies into an early grave with.
1 second. OMG, I do. Okay.
And, of course, making living branches rise up from beneath the ground to drag your enemies into an early grave with.
Dude, that's so cool.
Those things. If nothing else, they could also just bring Bone Singers back as a proper model again and say they're priests of ISHA now. And of course, an avatar of ISHA would be a wonderful thing to see.
Yeah.
Out of every reason to criticize GW's handling of the Inari or Kane, I don't think the models they got are one of them. I would bet my wallet on a model for ISHA being breathtaking, and you can look at Alariel and AOS for proof of that. Maybe don't have her riding on a big beetle again, though. I'm thinking something closer to Ariel from Total War, but in space. And for the love of God, if a Primarch absolutely has to rescue ISHA, at least let her go on her own way after the fact. No enslaving ISHA to the Imperium. Let the lady have a break for once in her life.
Agreed.
And no shipping bait either. She's happily married, thank you very much.
Oh, she's married to this guy? Interesting choice. Yeah, I do feel like ISHA getting out of Nurgle's grasp would be a really cool shake up for the 40K universe. I mean, I could see it being a cool, like, if a Primarch is involved. I mean, it says a lot for their power, I guess, and character. I don't know. She's married to the god of the hunt. That makes sense. That does make sense. And a model would be so cool.
And that's ISHA. Eldar goddess of life, elven goddess of life, and occasionally an angry forest fairy that'll drown you in a magical swamp. Girl's gotta have her hobbies after all. Thank you as always to my wonderful channel members. You are the ISHA to my wood elves, giving me nice, wholesome support for the abominable things I put out. If you'd like to support the channel, feel free to subscribe or become a member. Either way, thank you for watching and take care out there.
Thanks, Pancreas.
I mean, for real, though, ISHA has got to be top 5 most suffering Warhammer characters. Like, there's ISHA, Felix, Gilliman, Felix again for good measure, and then at a tied 5th place, anyone within a 5-mile radius of Thanquol. Nothing good comes from being close to Thanquol.
Oh my god. Let me go to the chatting screen for a bit. Yeah, I do imagine. Yeah, I can't think of a worse.
What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of
Suffering by Nurgle's hand? Yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. New clothes on your house? Oh, congrats, Dan! Congrats. I hope it's everything you ever wanted. Thanks for the sip, Leora. Warhammer Hotspots Empire of Man reaction? I don't know what that is. But if someone posts it in the Reacts channel for Discord, I'll consider it for next time. In one book, Fulgrim suggested that ISHA let Kane use her for sex if he would save the Eldar, causing an angel exterminatus clawing its way out of her body, killing her, but it's Fulgrim and he is okay. What? Holy shit, that's a lot. It's a Pancreas video? Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, if someone posts it, then I will happily consider it for a future
Just a normal day or so we thought.
a future video.
Suddenly lost control, now you're caught. What is going on? Well, can't you see? You're under the control of Riri.
On-screen celebration? Did you guys see something? I didn't see anything.
Lovely souls under her possession.
That's weird.
Hoping to give herself a taste of
That's
what it's
weird.
like to
I didn't see
be
anything.
Not as clumsy. The ghosty girl who goes to game. What she doing? What she playing?
But alright, we got to watch the 2 videos. You didn't see my thigh celebration? I don't know. Was it on the screen? Did you guys see it? Oh my god, it's bits. Thank you for the 40 bits. I'm looking. Oh, maybe because I'm not watching on Twitch, right? Like, I'm just seeing my like my OBS screen. So maybe it's not showing up on here. Oh, dang it. I'll have to look at the VOD. Thanks for the 80 bits though. And the on-screen celebration. No, I'm happy for you, for real. It was a lot of thighs. Damn. I missed all the thighs. Unlucky. Okay. I'm gonna be so honest today, guys. I am high-key exhausted. I don't think that I can socialize and like raid anybody today. I'm sorry. It's just one of those days. The idea of raiding in and saying hi, and I just can't do it. So we're not gonna do it. That's okay. I raid like 95% of the time, so it's alright. It's alright to not raid every now and then. It's just one of those days. If I had someone that I know you guys didn't know that's doing something important or whatever, I would totally raid them and I would suck it up. But I'm trying to practice boundaries and I'm tired. Yeah, closing on the house. Time to close those thighs around. Never mind. I said it something. I let the inside thoughts out at the beginning of stream, and I was like, I should go to bed. The degen and the Lulu is coming out a little bit too much. Give me. Man. I'm gonna give myself something light to eat. Literally, I'm probably just gonna eat some of my leftover chicken, like just by itself. And go to bed soon after I have to do some glitch stars work. But I'm gonna set myself a timer. Don't worry, guys. I'm only gonna work for a little bit. 'Cause I'm pooped. I'm tired. Yeah, that's it for me today, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I'm glad we got to watch some more Warhammer videos. I've been missing some lore stuff. I was overdue. I think I posted on Discord. I never tweeted it, I realized, but I posted on Discord like a schedule, and my next plan is for Friday to do painting. I have to paint a sword that I paint for my friends. It's not miniature painting, but we're using my miniature paints and supplies. It's kind of fun. I really have to work on that because I'm painting it for his cosplay and he needs it in like a week, 2 weeks. Wait, no, a week. Oh shit. Yeah, so we gotta get good progress on Saturday. I think we will because I have the blues that I need now. So Saturday we'll be painting. It'll probably be around 2. I was debating if I do a morning stream before my appointment at 1 or if I do one after the appointment, but I think in the morning I am going to do some errands and then stream in the afternoon. That way I'm like home from traffic and stuff and we can make good progress on the painting. And then that way if I need like, if I want to do some kind of spray paint for the silver of the sword, I can just go get that, which would probably be a good idea. Maybe I will tomorrow. Anyway. That's it for me, guys. I hope you have a good night or day wherever you are. Please take care of yourself, drink plenty of water, and I'll see you on Friday, okay? Lots of yapping and hanging out on Friday. So, if you want more of that, that's all we'll be doing on Friday is yapping and hanging out while I paint. Well, otherwise, yeah, おやすみまたね. Bye, guys!
Body all the more to the ghosty girl. I said it's the ghosty girl. I said it's